Like and subscribe to support the channel. Donations welcome.
The shift from the protections afforded to whistleblowers to the rights and responsibilities within the landlord-tenant relationship represents a transition from the workplace to the home, a fundamental aspect of individual well-being. While whistleblower laws focus on protecting individuals who expose wrongdoing within organizations, the laws governing landlord-tenant relations aim to balance the interests of property owners with the rights of those who rent their properties. This balance is often precarious, with frequent disputes arising from lease agreements, rent payments, property conditions, and the eviction process. Understanding the legal framework surrounding these interactions is crucial for both landlords and tenants to navigate the complexities of the rental market and protect their rights. The cornerstone of the landlord-tenant relationship is the lease agreement. This legally binding contract outlines the terms and conditions of the rental arrangement, including the rent amount, payment schedule, duration of the lease, and the responsibilities of each party. A well-drafted lease agreement, reviewed by both parties, and ideally with legal counsel if complex issues are present, minimizes potential conflicts by clearly defining expectations. However, even with a meticulously crafted lease, ambiguities can arise, necessitating an understanding of relevant state and local laws. These laws often dictate minimum standards for habitability, maintenance responsibilities, and procedures for rent increases or lease terminations. It's crucial for both landlords and tenants to be familiar with these laws, as they often provide additional protections beyond what's explicitly stated in the lease agreement. For instance, many jurisdictions have implemented implied warranty of habitability, which legally obligates landlords to maintain a habitable dwelling. This typically encompasses ensuring that the property is safe, sanitary, and free from significant structural defects that affect the tenant's health and safety. This doesn't mean landlords are obligated to perform every repair requested by a tenant, but rather to address issues that render the property uninhabitable or pose a serious threat to the tenant's well-being. A leaky roof causing water damage, a malfunctioning heating system in winter, or a significant infestation of pests are examples of conditions that generally fall under this implied warranty. Failure to address such issues can provide grounds for tenants to withhold rent, in some jurisdictions with specific legal procedures, seek repairs through court order, or even terminate the lease. The specific legal processes and remedies vary by jurisdiction, highlighting the importance of consulting with local legal resources for guidance. Conversely, tenants have responsibilities outlined in their lease agreements and state laws. These responsibilities typically include paying rent on time, maintaining the property in a reasonably clean condition, and refraining from damaging the property or engaging in illegal activities on the premises. Violations of these responsibilities can provide grounds for landlords to initiate eviction proceedings. The consequences of failing to uphold these responsibilities can range from late fees to eviction, depending on the severity and frequency of the violation. A consistent pattern of late rent payments, significant property damage, or illegal activities on the premises can provide sufficient cause for a landlord to terminate the lease and initiate legal action for eviction. Rent control ordinances are a critical element influencing the landlord-tenant relationship, particularly in areas with high housing costs. These ordinances aim to regulate the amount of rent landlords can charge and often place restrictions on rent increases. The rationale behind rent control is to protect tenants from exorbitant rent hikes, particularly low-income individuals and families who may struggle to afford rapidly escalating costs. However, rent control policies can have unintended consequences. They may discourage new construction or investment in existing properties due to reduced profitability, potentially exacerbating the housing shortage in the long run. Rent control ordinances vary considerably by location, and understanding the specific regulations in a given area is crucial for both landlords and tenants. The eviction process is a significant aspect of landlord-tenant law and often the most contentious point of disagreement. While landlords have the right to evict tenants for legitimate reasons, as outlined in their lease or by applicable state law, The eviction process must adhere to strict legal procedures. Unlawful evictions, those not following the proper legal procedures, can result in serious penalties for the landlord, including significant financial sanctions and potential criminal charges. These procedures often involve issuing a formal notice to the tenant, allowing sufficient time to cure the breach of the lease or vacate the premises, and if the tenant fails to comply, filing an eviction lawsuit with the relevant court. Tenants have the right to challenge unlawful evictions and may have legal recourse if the landlord fails to follow proper procedure, retaliates against them for exercising their rights, or attempts to evict them without a legitimate reason. Tenants should carefully review any eviction notices they receive, seeking legal assistance if they believe the eviction is unlawful or retaliatory. Retaliatory evictions. Evictions initiated in response to a tenant's legitimate complaints about property conditions or other lease violations are illegal in many jurisdictions. Therefore, understanding the legal protections available to tenants in the event of an eviction is crucial for protecting their rights and avoiding potentially devastating consequences. Several case studies can illustrate the complexities of landlord-tenant disputes. Consider a scenario where a tenant experiences a persistent leak in their apartment's ceiling, leading to mold growth. The tenant repeatedly requests repair, but the landlord refuses to address the issue. Under the implied warranty of habitability, the tenant has grounds to withhold rent in certain jurisdictions, subject to specific legal procedures, seek legal action to compel repairs, or even terminate the lease. Conversely, consider a case where a tenant consistently fails to pay rent on time. The landlord follows the proper eviction procedures, issuing notices and eventually filing an eviction lawsuit. The court will assess the landlord's compliance with the legal process and the tenant's justifications for non-payment. Another example might involve a landlord attempting to evict a tenant shortly after the tenant reported a safety hazard within the building, a clear instance of potential retaliatory eviction. In this scenario, the tenant needs to document the reporting of the safety hazard, the timing of the eviction notice, and seek legal counsel to challenge the eviction. These cases demonstrate the necessity for both landlords and tenants to be aware of their rights and responsibilities, to understand the legal processes involved in disputes, and to seek legal counsel when navigating complex issues. The landlord-tenant relationship, while inherently contractual, exists within a legal framework designed to protect the rights of both parties. Understanding this framework is crucial for ensuring fair and equitable interactions within the rental housing market. The intricate interplay between lease agreements, local ordinances, and state laws underscores the need for continuous education and vigilant attention to legal detail for both landlords and tenants. A proactive approach to understanding legal protections and responsibilities can significantly reduce conflicts and ensure a more harmonious and legally sound relationship.
Like and subscribe for more content.